All right, let's dive into a novella that is, well, it's short, it's quiet, but man, it packs a punch. We're talking about Gabriel Garcia Marquez's masterpiece, No One Writes to the Colonel. So, on the surface, this is a story all about waiting. Simple, right? But it's so much more than that. It's really about this fierce battle for dignity, the power of memory and what it feels like to hold on to hope when it feels like the whole world has just forgotten you even exist. Garcia Marquez, he doesn't mess around. He throws us right into the deep end with this one. Absolutely devastating line. Think about that for a second. For almost 60 years. That's not just a mood he's setting. No, that's the entire landscape of this man's life. Okay, so let's meet our guy, the Colonel. The story kicks off on this really bleak morning in October, a month, by the way, that he feels in his gut like an illness. And you get it right away. You just know this isn't a special day. It's just one more morning in a long, long, unbroken chain of basically the exact same day over and over again. And the scene is just, it's set so perfectly. Think about this. There is one single spoonful of coffee left. And what does he do? He lies, says he's already had his, and gives it to his wife, who's sick with asthma. All while this endless rain is falling outside. It's like the miserable soundtrack to their poverty. And in the middle of all this, he has this one ritual. It's like the anchor of his entire life. Every single Friday, for 15 years, mind you, he puts on his best clothes, which is actually the same suit he wore on his wedding day, and he walks down to the harbor. Why? He's waiting for the mailboat, hoping it's finally brought the letter, the one that confirms the pension he was promised decades ago for serving in a civil war. But every single Friday, he gets hit with the same, just absolutely soul-crushing words from the postmaster. 15 years of holding on to that little bit of hope, and it gets shattered week after week by that one sentence. You can see how this weekly wait has become, well, it's become his whole life. Now that letter, that's like a symbol of a forgotten promise, right? A promise from the outside world. But the Colonel, he's got one other thing he's clinging to, and this thing, it's very much alive. It's a fighting rooster. And look, this is not just some random animal. This rooster, it was his son's. His son, Augustin, was killed for handing out secret political pamphlets. So this bird is the last living thing he has of him. It's more than a pet. It's a legacy, just soaked in memory and grief. So you can imagine this one bird is carrying an absolutely impossible amount of weight. For the Colonel, it's simple. It's the living memory of his son. But for his wife, she calls it a costly illusion. It's just another mouth they can't afford to feed. And then there's the whole town. For them, suffering under this oppressive regime, that rooster is a symbol of defiance. It's this tiny spark of hope that everyone can get behind. All right, so the simmering tension between survival and symbolism, it sets up the main conflict of the whole story. Because the Colonel and his wife, they are literally starving. And then, all of a sudden, an escape route appears, a way out. But, as you can probably guess, it comes at a terrible, terrible price. And this offer? It comes from a guy named Don Sabas. Now get this, he's his son's godfather, and he's the only political leader from their side who not only survived, but actually got rich by collaborating with the enemy. He is everything the Colonel is not. He's wealthy, he's corrupt, he's a total pragmatist. He looks at that rooster and doesn't see a symbol. He just sees an asset, something to be sold. And the number he puts on the table is just staggering. 900 pesos. Now, for a man who is literally counting his last few cents, a man who has to buy corn for this very rooster on credit, this is an unimaginable fortune. We're talking about enough money to live on for years. And that really brings us to the core question of this whole story, doesn't it? What do you do? Do you sell this living symbol of your son, of your town's defiance, of your own stubborn hope, just to survive? What is dignity worth when you're literally starving to death? Say the Colonel is just pushed right to his limit. He's at a breaking point. But the decision, in the end, is kind of made for him in this incredible public moment that is really the climax of the whole novella. So what happens is his son's friends take the rooster to a trial fight, to get it ready for the big competition. The Colonel goes to the cockpit to check on it, and when he walks in, he's met with this huge roar of applause. He looks around and sees the faces of all the townspeople. These are poor guys who've saved up what little money they have just to bet on his rooster.
And then he takes the bird back into his own hands. He can feel its warmth, its life, this deep, pulsing vibration. And in that one moment, it all clicks. He gets it. The rooster isn't just his anymore. It belongs to everyone. So he just snatches the bird and walks out. That's it, decision made. See, it's not just about him and his wife anymore. By choosing the rooster, he's choosing the spirit of his community over his own desperate physical need to survive. It's just this incredibly powerful, profound act of defiance. But of course, this heroic act in public, it has immediate and absolutely devastating consequences when he gets back home. And this leads to what is honestly one of the most famous, just gut-wrenching final conversations in all of literature. So he gets home, right? And he's full of this new purpose, this new energy. He tells his wife his decision straight up. The rooster is not for sale. He's made his choice. It represents something more important than money. And his wife, who's always been the practical one, just brings him crashing right back down to earth with one simple, brutal question. Yeah, it was a great moment of defiance, but their stomachs are still empty. So, what now? And then the weight of all their desperation just comes pouring out. She tells him she's already tried to sell everything they own that has any value. She even tried to sell their wedding rings, but the priest shamed her, told her it was a sin. She's hit a dead end. She has exhausted every single option. So when you boil it all down, the colonel has made his choice. He's chosen dignity over dinner, belief over bread. He's decided to feed his soul instead of his body. He's clinging to the only things he has left, his honor, and this incredibly stubborn belief that something better has to be coming, that his long, long wait can't be for nothing. But his wife, she just keeps pushing him. What if the rooster loses the fight? What if the pension never comes? And the big one, what are we going to eat until then? He's cornered, he's desperate, and his final answer is just this explosion of pure, raw defiance. And it leaves us, the readers, with the story's real hunting question. When everything else is gone, what exactly does hope eat?